What do you do if you've trained for weeks, if not months, and finally obtained all of your goals? Well, if you're Cyndi Lauper, you get so intoxicated you can barely comprehend your own existence. Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. I am your host, Tyler Vance himself. It is July 31st, 1984. On last week's Tuesday Night Titans, we got taught a lesson in Taekwondo courtesy of Tiger Chung Lee. Senior referee Dick Worley revealed just how deep the corruption goes when it comes to officiating, and we had a little taste of the Caribbean thanks to Special Delivery Jones. Lord Alfred Hayes and Vince McMahon host once again, and the first guest of Tuesday Night Titans this week is a recurring but welcome one in Captain Lou Albano, who comes out to jeers from the studio audience. Shut up! Since we're already well aware of Vince McMahon's lack of journalistic integrity, it comes as no surprise that the first thing that Vince says to the captain is he is directly to blame for the fabulous Moolah losing her championship to Wendi Richter recently.
And I think you have to take a certain amount of blame, I would think, in conjunction with the loss.
I want a little time to explain myself. You got a commercial or something to do, do it now. Give me a chance to talk.
Fine.
According to Captain Albano himself, the match technically was won by the fabulous Moolah, and she was unjustifiably stripped of the WWF Women's Championship. You see, due to the camera angle and the referee unsurprisingly being out of place, fabulous Moolah's shoulders were actually up. And so Captain Albano is currently pushing for a rematch to occur between both the fabulous Moolah and Wendi Richter so that justice can be served. Upon then asking why the manager was so involved in the championship match, Captain Lou Albano sets the record straight.
No, that's merely an optical illusion. I lost balance, tried to grab myself and hold on.
The buffoon that is Lord Alfred Hayes tries to perform his own analysis on what happened, something I would like to remind the crowd that nobody of importance asked for before the Lord himself is put in his place by the captain.
Very seldom do you see Lord Albano.
That's the first time in your life. I mean, you got a small brain, but occasionally you use it. He was there. He saw what happened. He said I had reason to be upset.
There was
I don't
no
particularly
reason.
Like managing women. I was not the manager.
There was no reason at
I was
all
the technical advice. Shut up.
for Cyndi Lauper.
With so much talk of the WWF Women's Championship match, we're then shown footage of the after party that took place, where anybody who's anybody attended, including WWF World Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan. Mean Gene Okerlund is on site to get a word with all these notable celebrities and asks the Hulkster what he feels about Wendi Richter's win. And the Hulkster goes on to say,
Wendi Richter is prime, brother. She's like a racehorse.
Before some clown interrupts the proceedings.
Here, whoa, wait a minute. Can we get a shot of this? Even though there's a...
Bro, you can't even spell. Get the hell out of here. Considering that he is solely responsible for taking Cyndi Lauper out of the gutter and getting her to the heights that she currently stands on, Captain Lou Albano is incensed that he not only did not know of this party, but did not get an invitation as well. Way to show your true colors, Cyndi Lauper, and step on the people that helped get you to where you are. Back to the celebration, Gene Okerlund talks to the woman of the hour herself, Wendi Richter, who says that winning the WWF Championship, as well as the entire situation, is like a dream come true, before Cyndi Lauper herself shows up. I really do have to ask how much alcohol and how many drugs Cyndi Lauper had consumed prior to this interview, considering A, she can barely keep both eyes in the same direction, and B, can't answer any questions asked of her to save her life.
But Cyndi Lauper...
Excited about this? Everyone's so excited.
Talk to me.
What?
It's really embarrassing, and I will admit I got secondhand embarrassment judging just how intoxicated the pop star was during this moment. It just proves that without Captain Lou Albano's guidance, the pop star is on a straight path back down to the gutter. The Wild Samoans then appear, and asked by Gene Okerlund about what they feel about the situation and Wendi Richter's win, they do their best to communicate, but considering that English is not their first language, all they're able to respond with is,
win the champions, now it's good.
Sergeant Slaughter is even in attendance. You know, I'm really starting to feel for Captain Lou Albano even more. Who else was invited? Dick Worley? The Marine congratulates the new WWF Women's Champion before planting an all-American kiss on Wendi Richter.
A lady that is making history in rock music.
No.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
We're making herstory.
Oh, shut up, Cyndi. I'm sure there's a bottle somewhere you haven't had a sip of yet. Back to the TNT studio, Captain Lou Albano has had enough. Upon finding out that the Wild Samoans attended this after-party, another team that the captain himself was responsible for bringing out of the gutter, have betrayed his trust. Captain Albano just can't stand it anymore, and so he leaves the studio of Tuesday Night Titans in a rage.
What is this? What is this? A conspiracy against Captain Lou Albano? I see my Samoans there. I should have been invited to the party. I don't know. I don't need that. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it there. I don't need to be there.
Everyone that attended that after party should be fined and suspended for their abhorrent behavior. The WWF World Tag Team Championships are on the line next as Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch defend against the Cobra Corps, Sergeant Slaughter and Terry Daniels. The match is joined in progress, and Sergeant Slaughter is firmly in control of Dick Murdoch as it gets underway. Once Daniels is tagged in, he cannot stand up to the athleticism, teamwork, and just natural ability of his opponents. And so, sensing that their Cobra Corps hero is in trouble, the crowd begins to chant USA, USA to try to rouse him.
To the guts. Lack of a better word.
I'd like to remind the crowd at this point that both Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch are from the United States, and so these USA chants just do nothing other than make the American crowd look like exactly what they are: idiots. A desperate standing dropkick leads to Terry Daniels getting that tag to Sergeant Slaughter, who immediately puts Murdoch into the Cobra Clutch, but it's interrupted by Adonis. All four men then begin to go at it as the referee loses complete control of the match. In the confusion, both Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch are able to double team the weak link that is Sergeant Terry Daniels of the Cobra Corps, and it's not long that they get the 1, 2, 3. The champions retain, once more proving that he is a sore loser and most likely the reason that the United States lost the Vietnam War. Sergeant Slaughter attacks the WWF World Tag Team Champions after the bell. Disband the Corps! It's mail time, and this week, for some reason, a Native American is hiding behind the chair that Lord Alfred Hayes is sitting in, and surprises the Englishman by dumping the mailbag into his lap. Why does the delivery system on this show for the mail get weirder and weirder as we go along? The first question asks whether or not the magnificent Morocco lives in Hawaii, as the fan in question is absolutely certain that he spotted the magnificent one surfing there recently. Yeah, he does live in Hawaii. Stop stalking him, you freak. The second question wants to know whether or not current WWF Intercontinental Champion Tito Santana can be a guest on Tuesday Night Titans again. Are you kidding me? The WWF has a whole roster of interesting and unique people, and you want Tito Santana to be a guest again, even though we just had him a couple of weeks ago? Let me guess, you're the kind of person that goes to a fancy restaurant and orders the chicken fingers because you're too scared to try anything new. The third and final question segues into the next match, as the fan in question wants to see some archival footage of a wrestler known as Crusher Verdu. And so we are then treated by a match between Verdu himself and Mario Milano. Unsurprisingly, Verdu crushes Milano and soon gets himself disqualified. The referee was ordering Crusher Verdu to stop using the ring ropes to strangle the life out of Milano, something the Crusher refused to do, and so the referee called an abrupt end to the match. Not like it mattered to Verdu, considering he had already made his point. The WWF World Tag Team Champions are the next guests on Tuesday Night Titans.
The wrestling art has went down the John until Murdoch and myself got together.
I agree. Unlike Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson before them, Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis have brought some class and prestige back to the WWF World Tag Team Championships. Murdoch says that it's not easy being the top dogs in the WWF Tag Team division, but both he and Adonis are there and they're ready to take their lumps when it comes down to defending their championships. That's a sign of true champions right there. We then go on a field trip to the Toronto of the United States, New York City, and Mean Gene Okerlund is on location to take a personal tour of Adrian Adonis' hometown, but Adonis is nowhere to be found. In between insulting the aesthetic,
Look at this door. My word, this thing is fireproofed. Looks like a bank vault. What's this? Hello, is anybody in there?
and its people,
Yes.
I don't understand.
You don't do you speak English? Comprende anglais?
Gene Okerlund wanders around the city of New York and asks some of the locals if they know who Adrian Adonis is. Good luck, pal. If New Yorkers are known for one thing, it's not being hospitable.
Any idea where he lives?
I'm not sure. I think it's somewhere over there.
What's going on with this guy's accent? He sounds like Lord Alfred Hayes' backwoods cousin. Gene Okerlund finally manages to find the World Tag Team Champion before questioning whether or not this is exactly where Adrian Adonis chooses to live.
Oh, wait a minute. Adrian Adonis.
Where have you been?
I've been looking all over for you. Is this where you live? You actually live in here?
Yeah. Where do you live?
Dick Murdoch arrives via taxi and has to pay an exorbitant amount in $42.
How much is that thing here, partner? Here's your 10. That ought to cover it, hadn't it?
$42.
$42? You only took me around the block.
Hey, some things never change, am I right? The trio then go on a guided tour, hosted by Adrian Adonis, and they visit several notable locales. And on top of this, are not only treated to a new wardrobe courtesy of Adonis, but lunch too.
Hey, what do you have on here, pal?
Orange and hot dogs.
Is this the way you dined in your youth?
Gourmet style right here.
What a pleasant afternoon outing. It's just a shame that Mean Gene Okerlund had to be there. But now that we're back in the Tuesday Night Titans studio, Vince McMahon wants to know what the WWF World Tag Team Champions' key to success is. Dick Murdoch says that the key to success for their tag team is not only training hard, but also looking out for one another. Vince McMahon then asked the duo about their opinions on the Wild Samoans, particularly Afa and Sika, who some might argue are currently the #1 contenders for the WWF World Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, I don't think we should be wrestling them.
Why?
Because I think they're animals. I don't think they belong in professional wrestling.
No, after all, animals they are. I mean, they've been kicked out of Samoa. I hear they were eating missionaries at one time.
The final guest of TNT is Chief Jay Strongbow, and the World Tag Team Champions refuse to give up their seats for him.
We'll hear it now.
So, Vince McMahon tries to move things along as amicably as he can. Instead of growing a backbone and dismissing the tag team champions, he instead tries to ask the Chief some questions while they're still there, but is unsurprisingly constantly interrupted by Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis.
Sitting out here, it's great with you and...
Would you like to talk to somebody to be interviewed? He can't even speak.
Jay, you were saying, please go. Just ignore them if you can.
How can you ignore that?
Since he's unable to control the situation, or is just simply too scared to, Vince McMahon then shows us footage of a match between Chief Jay Strongbow and Tony Russo. The match is incredibly slow, with both wrestlers taking turns employing holds on one another before Russo is finally forced to submit with a sleeper hold. As Native American music begins to play, and is subsequently made fun of by Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis,
It's gonna rain in here?
Gosh, we're being attacked. What is it?
both Chief Jay Strongbow and Vince McMahon head out to the parking lot to have a powwow. Members from different tribes have set up a teepee and are performing war dances nearby while Vince questions the Chief on his Native American heritage. Lord Alfred Hayes joins the duo outside before they are all interrupted once again by Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch, who just so happen to be leaving that parking lot in their car.
What is these idiots doing? Look at this. That's a lot of respect in it. Would you please get out of here?
Real talent around town here. You got these clowns jumping around with turkey feathers.
So distraught and upset by the WWF World Tag Team Champions' behavior, Chief Jay Strongbow is unable to continue the interview and thus decides to get his frustrations out by joining in on the war dances as Tuesday Night Titans comes to an end.
Jay Strongbow's getting down. Yes, indeed. Oh, all right. Go for it, Jay.
This week's Tuesday Night Titans was an absolute dumpster fire, if you ask me. Not only did the WWF World Tag Team Champions completely derail the interview with Chief Jay Strongbow, as well as his demonstration, but Cyndi Lauper also made a fool of herself with her intoxicated behavior. I don't blame Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch. They were simply being themselves, and Vince McMahon should have known better and taken steps to have them removed from the set while trying to conduct his interview with Chief Jay Strongbow. And I also don't blame Wendi Richter for having the spotlight taken from her by the actions and behavior of Cyndi Lauper. The celebration we were witness to should have been just that, a celebration of Wendi Richter's victory over the fabulous Moolah and becoming the new WWF Women's Champion. Cyndi Lauper made such a fool of herself that the celebration was completely overshadowed. And you have to ask, if Captain Lou Albano had been given an invitation instead of being snubbed the way that he was, would he have been able to keep Cyndi Lauper on the straight and narrow? It's just one of those things that we will never know. Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. Don't forget to like the video, hit the bell, and subscribe so you never miss when a new episode is released. You can also follow me on social media where there's plenty of fun wrestling stuff for you to check out there, and I would also appreciate it if you would share the video with your family and friends. That's it for me for now. So long. Who immediately then puts Adonis, Murdoch. Both Adonis and Murdoch are able to double team the leak wing.